The first time they laughed at her, it was quiet, almost polite, the kind of laughter that slips out before anyone means to stop it. It happened at dawn, when the fog still clung to the training ground and the flags snapped sharply in the cold air. She stood at the end of the line, boots a half size too big, shoulders squared the way she had practiced in the mirror the night before. When the whistle blew and everyone surged forward, she stumbled, caught herself, and kept going. The laughter followed her like a shadow. She felt it, even when no one said a word. Her name was Lena Morales, and she had learned early in life how to endure being underestimated. Growing up in a small coastal town, she was the kid who fixed things when they broke, who carried groceries for neighbors without being asked, who stayed late to clean up after community events. None of that showed on a training field. What showed were numbers on a stopwatch, the precision of movements, the sharpness of commands. In those measures, Lena fell behind. Not because she didn't care, but because she cared so deeply that every mistake felt like a weight pulling her down. The instructors did not intend to be cruel. They were doing what they had always done. Push, test, break people down to see what remained. Yet there was something different about the way eyes lingered on Lena when she struggled, the way whispers followed her between drills. Pathetic, someone muttered one morning when she failed to clear a wall. The word hit her harder than the scrape on her palm. She did not respond. She never did. She simply got back in line. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Lena failed more drills than she passed. She lagged behind on runs, her arms shook during endurance tests, and her hands trembled when stress piled on top of exhaustion. At night, when others slept, she sat on her bunk and replayed every failure, searching for what she was missing. She wondered if everyone else was right. Maybe heart wasn't enough. Maybe belief didn't matter in a place built on results. The SEAL commander watched all of this from a distance. Commander Jack Harrington had seen hundreds of candidates pass through training, each carrying their own reasons for being there. Some wanted glory, some wanted escape, some wanted to prove something to the world or to themselves. Harrington had learned that the loudest confidence often hid the weakest resolve. He noticed Lena not because she was the slowest, but because she never quit. Every time she failed, she reset her stance, steadied her breathing, and tried again. There was no drama in it, no plea for sympathy. Just quiet persistence. One afternoon, under a sky heavy with heat, the candidates lined up for a weapons handling drill. The air buzzed with tension. This was where precision mattered most, where mistakes were not laughed at but feared. Lena's stomach tightened. She had practiced endlessly, memorizing procedures, visualizing each step. Still, when her turn came, her hands faltered. She corrected herself quickly, but the damage was done. A ripple of disapproval moved through the line. Again, an instructor snapped. She tried again and failed again, a fraction too slow, a movement slightly off. Someone behind her sighed loudly. Another shook his head. The familiar word surfaced, not spoken aloud this time, but hanging in the air all the same. Commander Harrington stepped forward. The range fell silent. He studied Lena for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then, to everyone's shock, he removed his own weapon and held it out to her. "Take it," he said calmly. Lena froze. Her first thought was that this was a test designed to humiliate her further. Her second was fear, not of the weapon, but of disappointing him. She took it with careful hands, aware of every eye on her, aware of the weight not just of metal, but of expectation. "Don't perform," Harrington said softly, his voice carrying without rising. "Just breathe. Remember why you're here." She closed her eyes for half a second. In that stillness, she thought of her mother working double shifts, of neighbors who had counted on her, of the promise she had made to herself to serve something larger than her own doubts. When she opened her eyes, the noise faded. The laughter, the whispers, the pressure all fell away. She moved with calm she didn't know she possessed. Each action flowed into the next, deliberate and steady. There was no rush, no panic. When she finished, the silence was different now, thick with surprise. Harrington nodded once and took the weapon back. "That," he said, "is what focus looks like." The instructors exchanged glances. The candidates shifted uncomfortably. For the first time, no one laughed. From that day on, something changed. Lena still struggled. She still failed drills. But now, when she failed, she failed forward. Others began to notice her effort, her willingness to help even those who had mocked her. When someone twisted an ankle on a run, she slowed to support them, even knowing it would cost her time. When a teammate forgot a step, she quietly reminded them later, never seeking credit. The unexpected turn came during a night exercise when exhaustion stripped away pretense. A storm rolled in without warning, rain turning the ground slick and dangerous. One candidate panicked, freezing in place. Protocol said move on. Lena stopped. She reached out, spoke calmly, and guided them through their breathing until they could continue. It was a small act, almost invisible in the chaos, but Harrington saw it. At the debrief, he spoke not of times or scores, but of trust. He spoke of how strength without humanity was hollow. His eyes rested briefly on Lena. The emotional climax came at the final evaluation. Lena stood once more at the end of the line. She did not finish first. She did not finish last. What she did was finish with others leaning on her, drawing strength from her presence. When it was over, Harrington addressed them all. History doesn't change because someone is perfect, he said. It changes because someone chooses compassion when it's hardest. Lena felt tears sting her eyes, not from pride, but from relief. She had been seen, not for her failures, but for her heart. As they walked off the field, one of the candidates who had once laughed at her fell into step beside her. I was wrong, he said quietly. She smiled, small and genuine. We all learn, she replied. The sun broke through the clouds then, casting long shadows across the ground. Lena breathed it in, hopeful. She knew the world would still underestimate people like her. But she also knew that kindness, offered again and again, had the power to change more than just outcomes. It could change people, and sometimes, that was how history truly moved forward.